What is up, podheads? We're back. Episode 140, coming at you right now. I am Tony. I am here, as always, with Anthony and Nate. How are you boys doing?
Nerd in arms. Here, ready, always.
I'm good. I'm in this weird headspace where I am pulling a Nate where I have all my scheduled shit out in the future for shows, but then I'm having all this FOMO for everything that I'm seeing online. And here I am chatting with you guys. I have to settle for this.
Sorry. It's not good enough. I know. I want to buy tickets to everything. I want to, fly to Vegas, fly to SoCal, fly everywhere, and check out all this cool shit because it doesn't come to Portland, Maine in the winter.
I know. Every tour announcement, I'm like, oh, Portland. Oh, Portland, Oregon.
Yeah,
oh.
Portland, Oregon. Again. Meanwhile, Nate's like, I got 4 shows in San Diego the same night. I don't know what to do, guys.
That's the conflict. Is I can't even make it to these shows, so the FOMO still exists. It's just the locality. It's like, oh, it's down the street. It would be nice.
What's the movie where the guy fucks up Austin, Texas? Is it Road Trip? Austin, Massachusetts?
Yeah, I think Austin and Boston. Yeah.
That's me looking through every announcement I see online. It's like, no, Portland.
I think that's Tom Green that fucks up Austin and Boston, isn't it?
That's right.
If you aren't familiar with what we're talking about, go look up Road Trip. It's probably 2004. It was in that American Pie run of rated R comedies.
Amy Smart, right? Amy Smart's in there.
Amy Smart, yeah. What's his name? DJ Qualls.
Which reminds me, we're going on a movie tangent here. I've watched 2 legendary comedies in the last few nights. I watched Grandma's Boy.
Oh, nice.
And I watched Hall Pass the other night.
Oh, I've never seen Hall Pass.
Oh my God. I was laughing out loud by myself.
Love it. I'm going to check that out.
It held up. Yeah, check out Hall Pass. Here we are giving movie recs.
It's all kinds of nerdery here at the Podioslave podcast. There's no guardrails.
I am a genius.
That's right.
Grandma's Boys. Grandma's Boys. Classic.
Phenomenal.
In fact, someone made a meme with that. I am a genius, and it was Elon Musk like rolling into Twitter.
Yes, I've seen that.
That's on so a Segway or something.
Yeah,
it's so good. If you're here for another episode of Nerdery, thank you. If you checked us out last week with Spose, thank you, and thanks Spose for coming on with us again. If you haven't, go back and check that one out. But yeah, we've got a good one for you tonight, Nate. What have we got tonight, man?
All right, nerds. So tonight we're talking something super cool. We're talking
NPR Nate needs to fucking go away.
NPR Nate, let me check your ID, man. Is that a fake ID? You're out of here, dude.
I'm a Russian bot.
All right, Nate, give us a little energy. What are we doing tonight? What's the segment, bro?
The segment tonight is very nerdy. It's album closers. And the reason it's nerdy, at least for me personally, doing kind of prep for this, when I think album closers, listening to the record, no matter what, especially in preparation for this episode, I think not only is this a great album closer, but it's a great show closer. I always kind of revert to the live show, and you're like, oh, why is this so good? Well, it's also good because it would be great live as a closer. There's only a handful of songs by whatever band that would be pinnacle closing track. So I kind of had that mentality when I was choosing my picks. So yeah, it'll be fun.
I like that. One of mine that fits to a T. They would 100% save this one for the last song. It'd be probably an encore. Wow. Maybe I like NPR Nate. I don't know.
You know what? And it's funny because looking at my list here, yeah, I think they all work depending on where they are. I'll get into that shortly too.
I'm happy you agree. I mean, it's like a nice tuxedo, right? We all agree here. This is a nice tux.
You know what they call that, guys? Satisfied parties.
Yes.
The Satisfied Parties episode featuring NPR Nate.
We should trademark that. Twan, you should trademark that.
Why me? You're the guy that gets things done.
It's my band. It's my band.
What's the Wahlberg quote? You must be the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the guy who does this job. You must be the other guy. It's Alec Baldwin, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
All right. So who's leading us off?
All right. Let me lead us off. I'm your waiter tonight, and what's on the menu is
food analogy. Sweet.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is it NPR Nate? Are you inhabiting NPR Nate right now?
I've latched onto the food analogies. So yeah, I'm your waiter. So the specials tonight. Do you want early 2000s post-hardcore? do you want
Which is like the mozzarella stick. Sorry, go on.
months? Do you want like the Titan Legacy Act, or do you want the
Enchilada.
newly released album that I just can't get enough of that has a killer closer? What do you guys want?
Ooh, that's the avocado toast. Let's see.
It definitely is the avocado toast.
Let's go with the new. Let's go with the new album.
Yeah, I'm down.
I was thinking about teasing it, but I'll just cut to it. It's Sun Sleeper. If you
Mhm.
recall, in Sunday Spins, I posted about this album. It just came out a few weeks ago, and it's the song Thief off their new album, While You Can. And I always like telling about how I heard about bands. So, you know, Spotify curates daily mixes.
Yes.
Yeah. So Sun Sleeper, I forget. I must have been listening to like a lot of Citizen or Teenage Rest, or, you know, that realm. So they recommended Sun Sleeper's Breaker Berry. It's a song off an EP from a few years ago. And I was like, who is this? Like, I feel like I know the band. And sure enough, it was Sun Sleeper. So Spotify obviously knows that I like the band. So say what you want about Spotify, but if you listen to a band, it knows that, and they tell you when a band has a new album. Have you guys run
Yes.
into that?
Yep, I have.
Yeah, so it was like right on the main screen, Sun Sleeper new album. So I checked it out. I love the album, but the last song is called Thief, and man, it's kind of a heavy song, but it rounds out the album in this like dreamy, airy, you know, shoegazy way. I know that term's overused a lot, but it just, man, I wouldn't say it's perfect. I know this isn't like the perfect closers, but it's a perfect song to close that album.
Nice. It's a good point. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be a perfect closer. It fits this album, and this is the perfect way to end this piece of music.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm kind of relating it to like a really good movie, like the perfect ending scene to that movie. Like they could have gone multiple ways, but this to carry the story to its finish line, like in some way, and sometimes it's not even like the obvious route, right? It's just like the theme or the ethos of the record, and that's the closing track to tie it, kind of close it.
I need to check this record out. I remember when you posted it on Sunday Spins, I was like, "Who? I've never heard of this band. Like, where did you find this?" And this is probably a few weeks back now, but I'm throwing this on my playlist right now to listen to this tomorrow.
It's great. I'll say this. It's a heavy song that you'll probably want to listen to. The album is heavy, but this song in particular, it's a great song to listen to alone because it's really just about like the worry of losing a loved one.
Which we all have that, right? I mean,
yeah.
geez.
Oh, at our age, and it definitely hits home. It's just a vibe. And I think, well, actually, let me ask you guys this. A lot of the songs that I considered for tonight just so happen to be the longest song in playtime on the albums.
Interesting.
And I think that obviously in this day and age, like sequence of songs goes a long way. So I think a lot of bands save like the epic, obviously the epic song for the last song, but the longest song for the last song. And I think this might fit into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I wonder if that's a conscious decision, you know, when they're writing, like what if that was like one of the first tracks? They're like, all right, so we know for sure this will be the last track, or is it like, you know, it's gone through several renditions in the process?
Yeah, it's 5.5 minutes long, so it is definitely the clear, in terms of duration, the clear closer. But I think in terms of end capping the album and kind of putting a bow on the album and summarizing kind of the vibe of the album, it's great. It belongs nowhere else on the album.
I'm excited to check this out because it sounds like something I'm going to be into.
I would say if you live in, and I'm not saying they sound like these bands, but if you live in the Sunny Day, Citizen, Jimmy world, you know, this is more mainstream analogies, but in that world, you'll like them.
I'm all in then.
Yeah, I think you'll dig them. Great closer.
You should work for Spotify. Those like the perfect recommendations. If you like this, you'll like this.
Right. Recommend it if you like. It's funny though. The recommended bands, when you click on Sun Sleeper, I don't think I know any of the bands. I was like, I wonder how they connected me to Sun Sleeper when they recommended Breaker Berry, it was this year. It was earlier this year.
Yeah, I always wonder how that like happens, where they know our listening habits clearly. we're in, this is a tangent, but we're in those, whether it's Apple Music or YouTube Music or Spotify or even on YouTube watching videos, like how do they figure out what I might like next? And then like sometimes get it right. But like obviously sometimes they get it wrong, but when they do get it right, they fucking knock it out of the park.
They do. Yep.
Nate, what do you think? I know you are like, that's what you do, CPG or getting people things that they like. I'm saying all these things to get everybody to drink right now.
Yeah.
But like that's, you target it on purpose, right? So like why, how does it even happen? That's what I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's two different sides to it. It's the organic route, right? Is like taking actual real time, right? Drink data, like polls, like where do you live?
What
are your hobbies?
Wind them up, pull the string, yeah.
What are your hobbies? Like, what are your favorite foods? And then you can kind of correlate those things accurately. The flip side, the other side, the dark side is like just legitimately tracking your IP address, and it's like, oh, this guy's on eBay buying a Metallica poster. He's probably gonna like this band. So
yeah, and you're right. It's probably all of that, and part of me, like, my day happens, and I want to think that some of those things are random, and then sometimes I'm like, man, they're fucking watching everything I do, and that's why I got this thing when I got it. Damn it.
Yeah, I love puppies. Boom, puppies.
Yeah. There's so many data points that they know that they extract. But then there's also so many data points that they predict. It's like, all right, this dude listens to sad shit at night. Here's Sun Sleeper.
Right. Yeah, he's unwinding, but he's also sad.
Right. So yeah, Sun Sleeper, kick us off. Let's keep the train rolling.
Yeah, it's a good kickoff. I like that because that definitely is something that piques my interest, and I'm excited because I listen to sad shit at night too, Twan. So
nerd sees nerd.
Yep. All right, Nate, what do you got?
Man, Twan really like nailed it in terms of some kind of talking points that I had in mind too. Actually, one of the bands. In fact, you mentioned it, Twan. You mentioned one of the bands as if you like this, you might like this artist. Do you any guesses? I'm going to keep it vague as usual.
Here we
Jimmy
go.
World's 23.
Yes.
Oh, dude, so good.
Damn, I am so predictable.
My AI engine in my head was like, yeah, World, yes, futures.
Yeah, yep. I mean, so good, right? The record we kind of ride for this album pretty heavy. Fantastic. I actually, in my notes, I wrote this is a 10 out of 10 album just because it's so rock solid, Might be a hot take, but
no, it's not, and you're right. It's not a hot take, and it's fucking rock solid. It's such a great record. It's 10 out of 10. Yep.
It's
a more well-rounded album than Bleed American, and
Yes.
I'll go on record. Yep. Well-rounded, like not forget commercial, forget singles, whatever. Well-rounded, yes.
As good as Bleed American is, this one is better, and it's them at their peak of their powers, and they continue to do that too. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think like we had Greg right from Zebrahead on for the millionth time, and he's
did?
like, yeah, for the millionth.
When did we do that?
Insert Snoop meme. Who?
Insert Greg laugh here. That's for me later to edit.
We were talking, throwback MFZB. Like you couldn't have written that record as your first record. So like Jimmy Eat World, Futures, it couldn't have been the first record, right? This is supposed to be, what is it, fourth? Their fourth record?
Yeah, it depends on what you count. Yeah, fourth or fifth. Yeah.
Fourth with Jim fronting the band, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in their stride. But you touched on something earlier, Twan, which is like this kind of like carries and rounds out the album. And it's supposed to be the closing track. Like no matter what, it kind of like, I mean, it's, when it jumps into that simple acoustic riff, it's a timeless riff, first of all. Instrumentally, this song could be perfect. You don't even need lyrics. Just the instrumental version of the song is just 10 out of 10. Add in Jimmy's lyrics, Jimmy Atkins, and it's like it tells such a beautiful story. So it's an amazing song in general, but as a closer, it really takes this album home. I think it would be incomplete without this song. Let's put it that way.
Totally, and you also like to listen to sad shit at night.
Yes, true.
Because this song is totally that. Like it's that vibe. But it's one of my favorite Jimmy Eat World songs. Has been since I was pre-23, and now that I'm way past it, I'm like, I still love it. I still remember those times, even though I don't love every minute of those times. And can't get enough of Futures. I mean, it continues to be one of my favorite records ever.
I agree. I'm trying to think. Out of any Jimmy Eat World album that I like, if I were to put them on tomorrow, it'd either be this or Clarity,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd probably bop around. But so let me ask you this: this song probably couldn't have been any other spot in this album. They had to have written this for the closer.
That's a good point. They probably did.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's like, was this a song that was in a notebook from, Bleed American? And he's like, I don't know. I'll revisit this. And it just happened to fit in, or was it, recorded for the sessions for Futures is to be known. Luckily, we're going to get one of those guys on, so we'll find out. But
Yeah, right. Zach Lynn. What are you doing, Zach?
What's is Night Drive on this?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that could close it.
Yep. This
Yep.
fits better though.
It does. Yeah, I'm just trying to go through the track lists.
there's
Yep.
a few Polaris could, I feel like, maybe,
Yep.
as well.
I mean, I think we all ride for work. I'm not sure it's a closing track, but the record is so good. We're going to rank the Jimmy Eat World records at some point.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. We've talked about it for over a year.
I think another interesting thing about this track, or just this record, but we're talking closing tracks, is we know Jimmy Eat World. We know the era this record dropped. Was it 04?
Was there-
Yes.
I would get, yeah, 04.
They're playing
Yeah.
theater type venues, so you're talking like 1,000 to 1,500 cap, sometimes 1,800, whatever it is. But this song, like today, I guess it just kind of sprung on me. Like I could hear this song, the band on stage. This is like a stadium anthem. It could be, at least, it's that good. So I just wonder, like, they make it look so easy. It's one of those bands that just like writes this amazing, bona fide, perfect song, perfect closer.
When they keep doing it, they keep putting out
And they
great
keep doing
songs. Yeah, they've been putting out great songs for 25 years. That
Mhm.
band can do no wrong, I think. Good pick.
Yeah, I love this song.
All right, I'm gonna bring it. This song is different than the two that you guys just gave us, but it also is. It's got some feeling. It's got some like epicness to it. It's got some end of the recordness to it. I gave Nate a chance to give this song, and he didn't do it, so I'm gonna have to do it now. When we were talking pre-recording, Nate, I was like, I think you're gonna have one of mine, and this is the one. And it's a song that we've always wanted this band, and they aren't currently doing anything at the moment, but this band to put at the end of a set list, because it's like perfect for that.
Mhm.
The chorus is, we'll be back, but it's, I'm not sure that they'll be back at this point.
I have it on my list. I know what you're talking about.
What is it?
So I'm going to throw it out there. I have no fucking clue.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
No idea. Was I taking a piss when you guys are discussing this?
No, you weren't on yet. Here's the thing, Twan. We've done a full episode on this band.
Oh, man. The song I was going to say was not a closer. I was going to say In the Fold, but that wasn't a closer.
So, Nate, what is it?
I mean, it was my first choice, and I jumped to this, my second. I was going to revisit this one. Which is funny is I thought you were going to choose 23 by Jimmy Eat World. But yeah, it's my first pick, which is Comeback by Foo Fighters.
Oh, my God, yes.
Oh, wow. I was way off.
And Twan, like you said, this song is the longest on the record. It's like almost 8 minutes long, with a great epic breakdown at the end that like into the drums that are just fucking badass. This song is so fucking good. It is one of the best Foo Fighters songs there is that nobody ever fucking talks about but me and Nate. Me and Nate are the only people that talk about this song, and I don't know why.
It's
So
like a
what
forgotten
album?
track.
I don't even know what album.
One by One.
Oh, okay. So I own that.
It's the end of One by One, which, I mean, it's kind of maligned in the Foo Fighters canon because they didn't love One by One, but One by One is fucking great.
It's awesome.
Low is a great song.
They
Yeah.
go hard on that album. I love that album.
It's a great record, and probably now he'd tell you different. Dave would tell you different, but in the moment they weren't a huge fan of it and how it came to be and all that. But this song should be talked about more by Foo Fighters fans, and never is. And Comeback is probably a top 5 Foo Fighters song. Go listen to it when you get done. When we get done tonight, or when you get done listening to us right now.
And it's funny, all the notes that I wrote are you said pretty much all my bullet points. But yes, One by One was what, 2002?
2002. Yep.
2002. So yeah, they were on the verge of breaking up, right? So
Actually, we're recording this 2 days before its 20th birthday.
Wow.
wow.
Nerdvoyance, friends.
I've read multiple times that it's not the band's favorite. They actually, I think it's because it has such a negative connotation. It's not necessarily the songs, but the recording behind the scenes.
Yeah, there was some turmoil.
Yep, just like they were on the verge of breaking up, and Dave actually left. He's like, fuck this, and left to go record Songs for the Deaf with Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
And I think he actually got offered a full-time gig with his buddy Josh, and he's like, well, I got this like pending project, new record with Foos. We're either going to break up or drop this new record. And he went back and this, they finished one by one, and this is the last song on it. But this song really captures that essence. So if you know like kind of the behind the music tidbits of what was going on, this song really tells that story, which is like, we're probably going to go away for a while because shit's fucked up, but we will be back. So it is like almost like a life preserver. Like, hey, like the Foo Fighters camp's in some pretty shitty turmoil, but we're going to close it with this song because we will be back at some point, but it's not fun right now. And they did actually, I think they disappeared for like, they came back in 2005 with In Your Honor.
In Your Honor, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's so funny you said that because it is like, the song. I have another buddy that lives in upstate New York that I got turned on to the song, and like, it's like you have to like really like blast it and like just zero in on the song, and you're like, this song is classic. It's perfect.
It's so fucking good.
And it is a top 5 track. And I've scoured the internet. They've never played it live,
Wow.
And it's a perfect song to play live. So, yeah.
It'd be a great set closer, which we've talked about just a second ago, right? I will come back. I'll come back to you. I'll be back. We'll be back, guys. Like, it's so fucking good.
So I know I've heard this because I have the CD and I listened to it. It's been many years. Although we did the Foo Fighters episode, so I definitely listened to it then. I don't know if I can think of this. So is it heavier? Is it lighter? Where does it fit?
It's all over the map. It starts off, it starts off kind of.
So it's a great closer.
Yeah, and then it has like this middle piece that's kind of way down, and like this little guitar lick while it's kind of vibing, and then it picks right back up with the drums and fucking goes hard to finish. Yeah,
like the instrumental variation or version of this song carries the lyrics because they're in sync. It's like, like we're fucking done, and like the song carries that, but the lyrics also carry it. So that breakdown is like we're fading and we're out, and you can almost see like Dave like singing this song, dropping the mic, and being like, we're fucking out, like for a long time. Yeah, like they're pissed at, they're like done.
Yeah, Twom, throw in your headphones tonight when we're done and listen to that. It's about 8 minutes. Do it while you're getting ready for bed. You won't want to go to bed after, but yeah.
My ears will be blown up. Was In Your Honor the double album?
Yep.
So isn't that some shit? Hey, we might break up, but we come back with a double.
It was just a double album.
We were just Nate's CPG hat comes on. How do we position this to the fan?
Well, it's half acoustic. That In Your Honor is half acoustic, half rock, right? So
yeah. With Taylor singing a couple songs, or at least a song on the back half.
Mm-hmm.
That record's good. If you want to listen to our thoughts on all of the Foo Fighters catalog, we did an episode way back in the 40s, I think. Is it 46? I can't even remember.
Wow.
But, yeah, I think it is.
Damn.
And it was a while back, and it's a great episode, excuse me. And we kind of rank our favorite Foo Fighters records. So there's more Foo Fighters thoughts there, but this song is fucking badass, and it needed its own moment.
Yeah. Kind of like the Spotify recommendations. This should recommend that episode.
They'll do that at some point. I'm not sure why they haven't started doing that, but it's coming.
So I got to ask you. I'm watching you from back of house. You guys have eaten the appetizer. It looks like you're a little parched. I come over. I offer the main course. Early 2000s post-hardcore or a Titan legacy act. 90s OGs, I would say borderline house band. So what are you guys into tonight? What are you hungry for?
Nate, I picked the appetizer. You picked the main course.
Yeah, let's do the 90s. I'm obviously 90s OG, right? Is this even a question?
90s OG. All right. There's those and I know the answer to this question, but there's those albums that where you bought it, the exact fucking year, the whole experience. This is one of those, it was a CD that I remember. You remember in the late 2000s, Circuit City closed?
Yes, yeah. I do.
Well, they like in any place that closes, they up the percentage discount as time goes on. So after undergrad, so 2007, I used to drive down to see my college buddies probably once a month from like 2007 to 2009. And on the way, in like Saugus area, there was a Circuit City on the way down. So I remember on my way down, I stopped in, and this was 2009. So it's 2 years after this album came out. This album came out in 2007, December of 2007. And actually, Nate's alluded to the fact that he worked for the label during the release cycle of this album. Pause. Do you know it?
Is it In Rainbows, Radiohead? No.
And what's the last song of that album?
A Reckoner?
No.
No.
That's number 7, I think.
Shit, what is the last track?
Tone
I'm
knows
not
it.
sure.
I don't.
Videotape.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Am I wrong? You guys, the way you guys are reacting, I'm like, is it the actual? But Videotape. I bought that album. It was like $5 because it was like, or $5 or $6. It was deeply discounted. And that song is just haunting. It's just a haunting closer. It's the perfect placement for that song at the end of that album. And actually, I'm going to go on record here. I think it's my favorite Radiohead song.
Really?
I used to skip to that song. Right when I put that album on, I'd skip right to it. I fucking love that song.
Interesting. I have 2 thoughts. One, you skip to the closer, which is crazy, but that's what it fits in this episode, right?
Yeah. It's that good. And because what else is on that? That's
Reckoner,
Reckoner.
Body Snatchers. Yep.
I mean, it's a
It's a
great
great
album.
It's only 10 songs too. Yeah, it's only 10 songs. It's a cool. Body Snatchers was the single, right? I think it was.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
But the other thing I have for you is that this was free. This record was free.
So I overpaid.
You overpaid. Yeah, because they put it out with pay what you want.
Yeah.
They were it like broke the internet in 07. They were like, hey guys, here's our record. Give us $1, give us $20, do what you want to do. Because they were over the major label cycle and were trying to change the game, and they did. It like music was already kind of free at that point if you wanted to find it, but they were like, we're okay with it being. If you don't want to give us any money, here's the website. Just download it.
You know what the irony is, though? The CD presentation was amazing.
It was,
it was the cardboard. Yeah, you know what it was. The cardboard like paper. Yeah, it was awesome.
In rainbows and a bunch of different colors, and yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the packaging's great.
But yeah, you could have got it for free.
What the fuck?
What's funny is I just watched History 101 on Netflix. I don't know if you've ever seen this show. And there's one on MP3s, and they kick off the episode with Radiohead dropping In Rainbows for free to kind of like segue into like how the whole MP3 phenomenon went down. Highly recommend it. My wife's always giving me shit. She's like, you don't even relax. You just put on shit to like learn more shit. I'm like, yeah, I mean, why not?
Nate, you've watched this 6 times. Step away from the TV.
I'll remember that next time you ghost us.
Okay. Nate, where are you? It's like
I'm learning more shit, guys. Leave me alone.
In the name of nerdery, right?
he's selecting like skip to the next episode.
Skip to the next text. Ignore Podioslave. Nah, that's. I mean, knowing you, Nate, and the way that you operate, that makes complete sense to me. Yep.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's if I'm gonna kill time, I might as well nerd out a little bit more, even more than I already have. But yeah, the record is free, so it was on Markdown because it was free, and you picked it up at
the physical version. The digital version was free. Tuan got the physical version, so he did pay for something.
So I got it discounted because Circuit City was going out of business.
2 years later, too.
I bought The Wire season 4 at Circuit City for like $8.
Greatest $8 you've ever spent.
I fucking love that show. Great, probably the best show ever. Yep, that was my Circuit City story. Great call. Radiohead fucking rules, and we don't talk about them enough. And they are borderline, if not probably, a house band.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's funny, like it's all about like what you've spent the most time with out of their catalog.
True.
I've definitely spent the most time with this album because it's the only one. I think maybe Pablo Honey, maybe I have that on CD, but this is one that I had on CD, so naturally I played it. Like this was in the CD era still.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Back then, guys, cars had CD players.
CD deck with a swimming dolphin image, right? No, actually, I echo that because my brother was a Radiohead fan, so he was like in the bands and OK Computer, and I was always like kind of like a fan by association. But I think In Rainbows was like more our era. It was almost like catching Tool with Lateralis. You're like, oh, like I've heard some things off Enema, but like it came out during kind of our heyday, so that makes sense.
This is around that time when allegedly someone of my ilk might have been getting music for free all over the map. And I was like, oh, wow, I can get it for free legally? Cool.
Yeah.
This is a band. Radiohead's a band in this era. We were in college that I was like, all right, I'm going to download whatever I can get my hands on to listen to, allegedly, because I am a huge fan. And I couldn't figure out why they were, who they were, what they were, the sounds they were coming up with throughout their discography. It's different all over the map. And I mean, I've read 2 books about Radiohead. Like, I'm a huge fan. So it's this fits. I'm happy you picked a Radiohead song. I'm surprised that you did, actually.
All right, great pick, man. I wonder if that song's been played live. I want to say yes, but I guess we'll have to do some scouring.
I mean, next week we get Thom on, so we'll figure it out.
Thom will be on. Thom.
Maybe in that era, in that touring cycle, if they toured.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, album closers are fun, man. Here's one that when it came out, when this record dropped, I was pretty obsessed with this track. This is a house band. Any guesses? I'm going to keep it vague as usual.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Nate's like, I like music. Guess.
Guess.
Is it a Deftones record?
Nope.
You're going to have to give me more than that then. Rage?
Nope. Keep going. Keep going.
No, fuck you. Give me another hint.
It's Chili Peppers.
Ooh, yeah, it could be. Venice Queen?
Clue, they just dropped a record.
The Clue? No, just kidding.
Chili Peppers.
Yeah, Chili Peppers.
The band is Slipknot. Definitely
Ooh.
a house band here on the podcast.
Good call. Oh, it's Snuff, isn't it? It's Snuff.
It's not Snuff.
Fuck you. It's not Snuff.
I can't think of a closer that would
Quantify?
warrant this episode. No, I just can't think of a closer.
Snuff is a good one. Solway Firth is a good one.
Solway Firth, yeah.
This one, I might be, alone in this one, but for whatever reason, this one definitely touched me. It's Danger, Keep Away off Subliminal Verses.
Oh, yep. I should have known
I don't know.
that.
I don't know why, but this song just, for me personally, I've always been obsessed with it. And I think it's like literally the organ in the song is super captivating. But it's also
Wait, do you say the Oregon Trail?
Oh,
The Oregon Trail. They're from Iowa, Nate, not Oregon.
Oregon. Octagon. Enter the Octagon Trail.
This is what happens when we record late at night.
This is exactly what happens. So, Danger, Keep Away, that like isn't even really a song, though.
It's a song. Oh, it's 100% a song.
All right.
It's got a storyline. It has a great kind of spooky intro.
Yep.
It's Corey singing in his, harmonious voice after ripping through some pretty strong metal songs. I think another reason why I really like this record is I'm a huge R.I.P. Joey Jordison fan, and like his drum work on this record is very like simplistic and like for him tempo wise, like you can't get slower, so he must almost be like holding back. But really good cymbal work. I don't know. It touched me the first time I heard it, and I used to listen to it on repeat. And I've always thought it was a great closing track, but also just a track that I always wanted to see live, which I can't recollect seeing this song live. But just cool, kind of like almost like kind of a project song. Like I don't even know if it's really fit for a record, but it definitely closes this record.
So is this the song when you did the post about Joey? This was the music?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like an interlude type of a song, right?
It feels like an interlude.
Yeah.
It feels like an interlude, and honestly, I'm surprised that you picked this one because there are other, I think, better Slipknot closers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you said Solway Firth. That was
So fucking good.
brilliant cover, and they did a video for that too. Like
They did. Yep.
It's not very common, and this kind of gets into my last one. It's not very common that I think that they do like a single for a last song or a video for a last song.
Yeah, almost never happens, right?
Yeah.
But I like it, Nate. I'm happy that you picked something that is off the beaten path for us because it makes me want to go revisit it and listen to it again and with different ears. Like, oh, is this how this works? I like that record. I'm with you. Other than the fact that Rick Rubin's listening to it on a flip phone somewhere, it's a good record. I mean, fuck, it's got some really good Slipknot songs on it. It's probably the most commercial, I put in air quotes, but it's a good Slipknot record. Yep.
Well, when you mentioned Snuff, I was thinking like Snuff is also a bona fide closing track, but
Yep.
This was before that. So this was kind of the first time they had done something like this, right? Snuff came after.
True. Yeah, that's a good
Where
point.
Corey's singing, it's very reminiscent of like Stone Sour. So this is the first time like on a Slipknot record, like Corey is kind of really singing, right?
That's a good point. Like, we need Danger to have snuff happen. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just a really cool storyline. Like, you should play this song later. Anyone listening, like, the lyrics are kind of cool. Like, it's a deep song, right? So it reminds me of like a Nine Inch Nails song. I know he's a big Trent Reznor fan, so it reminds me of almost like a Nine Inch Nails song.
It's a good call.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I like that. We always say context is important. Whatever, it's definitely
No, we say
important.
context is key typically.
Yeah, and then you drink, and then you're like, that
Drink,
motherfucker
right.
just says the same thing every episode. No, but like this song, you're right. It laid the foundation for a lot of songs. I mean, listen to the latest Slipknot album, that first track. Like,
I know, right? That doesn't even fit.
it doesn't even fit. And actually, that might have went too far.
Yeah.
Is that what, Adderall, right?
Adderall. Yep.
But you know what? I'd take a whole record of that because that could be fun. That could be different. As long as you are going into it with that, like, this isn't going to be Slipknot necessarily. It's going to be Slipknot doing something weird.
Yeah. And one thing I've learned from the internet and Twitter is that Slipknot fans are like waiting for Iowa 2.0.
It's never
and, like,
happening, guys.
Anything outside of that, it's like, it's a letdown. But I think people just need to temper expectations a little
Well,
bit.
it's never going to happen. They did Iowa. They're not going to come back to that. They're not those people anymore. That was 20-something years ago. Like, people grow, people change, people put out different shit.
Absolutely.
Three members removed at this point too.
Yeah, true. Good point. And any band that's, 5 people, you're like, holy shit, but they're 9. So, like, you can kind of feel it. I'm changing it up, but I'm not changing it up. If you know me, I've talked about this band a million times. I've talked about one of their records a million times, but this is a different record and a different final song. Mate, we've seen this band together, I don't even know, probably 3 or 4 times. They put out a record in 2003 that I fell in love with in the moment. I got to see them on that tour and have seen them probably 15 times since over the 19, 20 years. And this song is probably my favorite song by this duo. Nothing, Nate, really.
So it's atmosphere.
It's atmosphere, yes.
Okay.
Glad I could pick up Nate's slack.
All right, it's atmosphere, and it's not God Loves Ugly, because I said it wasn't that record.
Coming home to you, right?
Always Coming Back Home to You. Yeah.
Nice. Yep.
And there's numerous reasons why this song resonates with me. It feels so much like he's singing Slug and Ant. Slug is the MC, is rapping about my hometown.
Oh, totally. Yep.
And the other half of this is that there's a secret song on the back half of this song that is also about Minnesota, where they're from, but could fucking fit in Maine. Every line could fit in Maine.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
like, getting 2 for 1 here. I'm pulling the you're getting 2 songs for the price of 1 kind of Green Day FOD. I Was All By Myself, right? But it's so fucking good. It's such a vibe. It's such a story, and I've heard it live a couple times, and I can't get away from it. It's my favorite, probably my favorite atmosphere song. So yeah, Always Coming Back Home to You, with also the added bonus of say shh on the end of it.
Say yeah. Every time he says "Land of the Cold Air," I always in my head say "Sopo, Land of the Cold Air." Yeah.
It's true though, right? In the land of ice and snow, yeah, we're the same.
So this is, you said it's not off God Loves Ugly?
No, it's Seventh Travels. The record record after it. Yep.
I've never heard this.
Oh, really?
You've positioned it, consumer product good. NPR Nate, my NPR Nate hat is like, I need to check this out because of the connection with the hometown, like connotation with the hometown. Will you make that association?
Both halves of this song, the Always Coming Back Home to You part, for sure. Especially around this time for me, I would listen to music a lot walking late at night, and it was like, all right, I'm headed home, like that type of thing. And then the happier secret song, Say Shh, is about being in a place that is less populated than, say, LA or Chicago, and having that vibe, which we grew up with. So you'll like both, I think.
I've always liked the song, to your point, like, because it really makes you appreciate what you have, small time USA, and just, yeah, it's simple and simplistic, and everything you need is right there. You don't need to go above and beyond, and feeling out of place in places that are supposed to be the hot places to live, but humble and realizing what real is.
So could it live anywhere else in that album?
No, this is the end.
Man, it makes me wonder, like, because most studio sessions, recording sessions, they end up with 12 songs, but they started with fucking 50. So was this one of those 50, or was this like, we need some way to round this out? I would love to know all, like, for all these albums.
Well, we would ask the Slug and Ant this question for sure, and this is a long album for them. I think there's 19 songs on this record, with a couple interludes, so as rap albums can do, but it is front to back one of my favorite Atmosphere records. I always come back to God Loves Ugly because of the feel and the vibe that one gave me when I first found the band, but this one is probably the most approachable in the time. They were on Epitaph. I mean, they even were like courted by big, major labels at the time, and they were like, nah, we're gonna go Epitaph. We're gonna go, punk rock essentially, and put out our record there, which is really fucking cool too. So I love this record. I love this band.
I'm curious, was it Epitaph or was it Anti, like their subsidiary?
I think it was Epitaph.
Oh, right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any other hip hop acts at that time.
Let me double check, but I think it was Epitaph.
Yeah, I gotta peep this.
Yeah, and speaking of songs, like, has this been played as their last song live? You might have to correct me, Tone, but I think we've seen this. I can almost swear that I've seen this played as the last song, but not like the truly last song, but it's like the last song before the encore.
Yeah. Yep, I think you're right. I think I've heard it maybe twice or three times in this aspect. Yep.
So it's a certified closer, obviously, in their eyes. I mean, they put it on the album, they close the set with it.
It could be, yeah. They didn't. I mean, I've seen them 15 times. I've only probably seen it around this time. The 03 to 05 range, where they were comfortable playing it. And really, in the 02 to 04 range, it didn't happen a lot. Yeah, this was on Epitaph in 2003.
Hey, good on both parties to really take a chance, because Atmosphere could have gone major at that point.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And Epitaph could have stayed in the punk, the Pennywises in that world,
Fun when that type of nerdery happens, when you grab, hey, they're doing something, they have this kind of punk rock ethos, even though they're underground hip hop, two people. Let's pull them in. Let's make this happen. And it worked, because this record's fucking awesome.
Man, I don't think I knew that they were on Epitaph proper. That's badass.
If only Epitaph would email us back.
I don't think it could have happened at any other time, too, because I think I have a Atmosphere poster that I got at Warped Tour, I want to say 02. And, Warped Tour has always been kind of a, collection of punk, hip hop, metal. So it kind of fits that realm. They were perfect for that tour, for that timing, and for this album release kind of collaboration. It would have been then or never.
Twan, you got me a poster from Warped of this record.
Yeah, 2004 Gillette Stadium parking lot.
Yep, I have it, and it's behind me. It's somewhere in the stack of posters behind me.
It survived the test of time.
Oh yeah, it was on my wall for the longest time in a couple of different places that I've lived. Yep.
I think I still have a few of those left.
Nice. Those are probably worth some money now, so hang on to them.
Oh, all right.
Coming up on 20 years, man.
Maybe I can get it graded.
Yes. We know somebody.
Know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate you.
All right. Is the waiter coming around with the dessert menu?
Oh, I hope so.
But there's only one option.
There is only one option.
It's the early 2000s post-hardcore special.
Well, nice. I think you give it to us. Can we have 2 spoons at least?
2 spoons. Let's go. So 2002 debut record, lead single, last song on the album, defies conventional wisdom. And I'm going to be very clear here. The radio version of this song was nowhere near as good as the original. When the singer comes in on the original, there's a distortion that's just really raw. It almost sounds like Chino. But the radio version was just, it didn't do it as much for me. Here's another hint. It's the title track of the album. I'm surprised they stuck it at the end.
Yeah, title track at the end that's different.
Here's another hint. This album came up kind of randomly when we had Brendan Garone of Incendiary on. We brought up Glassjaw's Everything You Ever Want to Know About Silence. And actually, Daryl's featured on this album. I'm just thinking about this now. Not the song I'm talking about, but the album.
Is it Finch?
It is Finch.
Ooh, What It Is to Burn.
What It Is to Burn.
Oh,
They
wow.
buried that song at the end.
Damn.
Honestly, do you guys remember the difference between the original and
Yes.
the radio?
Yep.
When Nate comes in on the radio, it's like, wait, no. They did
Yeah.
that?
It's so much like heavier on the record.
So much heavier, and it's a fucking explosion.
Yep.
And it almost sounds like he's straining on
Yeah.
on the radio version. But I love this album. I love this song. I think it's a bold move to put it at the end, but it really works for this album. So like that anthemic chorus, perfect place at the end.
Yeah.
The album they put out after this was not as good. So like this was them. This was
Yeah.
them in their prime.
We were juniors in high school when this came out. I remember buying the CD. I had 2 CDs that I listened to in class, and nobody ever gave me shit because I was a good student. I would just like not pay attention to school. I would just be listening to music, and this Finch's What It Is to Burn is one of them. It was always in my CD player for, when did it come out? Like spring of 02 maybe?
I
It
didn't see
says
the month.
January 1 of 2002. It's like
Okay,
first
so-
of the year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had it then, or a couple weeks later, and it was in my CD player in fucking history class, and I was like, yeah, no, that already happened. This is now. What's me to this shit?
Live in the present
Yeah,
tense.
Yeah. I was like, don't worry, that's not gonna change. That shit's not gonna change.
I'll Google it. I'll Alta Vista.
Yeah,
that
we're
later.
good. Yeah. CompuServe.
Man, dialing back the clocks here. So Nate, you kind of took the bait when I was, giving these hints. So you obviously rode hard for it. We all did. Like we sniffed
Mhm.
out this band early.
We did, yeah. Yep. New Kid. Remember the New Kid? That was the like
It
online.
was off the EP.
Yeah, yep.
It was off the Falling Into Place EP, which I still have. And
Hang
they
on to
kind of
that.
had a Deftones thing going on in
Yep.
that era.
Yep.
Yeah, you turned me onto them, onto Finch. So I don't think I knew about them until you passed the CD in study hall type thing.
Well, you didn't get it from me because it never left my CD player. So,
Instead of passing notes to girls, I was like,
hey
I'm
Nate,
gonna
check
make,
out this
I'm
record.
gonna make my homie a mixtape.
Hey, here we are, 20 years later, still talking about this shit.
No kidding.
I completely forgot that it was the last track on the record, which is insane. And even on Spotify, it has hyphen new version. So you're right. They made like a new version for the radio. But yeah, great intro, great song, great band. Definitely in their height. 2002 was such a fucking cool year for this type of music.
Yep.
It really captured it. And down to the artwork, it was like something about that artwork. It's very like that is a Glassjaw cover right there, pretty much. Right?
100%.
Well, and Daryl's on it, right?
Daryl's on it, yeah.
Project Mayhem, yeah.
Pre-jucked Mayhem.
Project Mayhem. Yeah. If you know,
If
you know.
you know. I don't think Nate knows. That's just you and me, Twan.
We'll keep it that way.
When we saw them State Theater Portland, did they close with this song? Do you know?
They must have.
Yeah.
They would have had to.
Yeah, that was April Rules. We were juniors in high school, right? That was April at the State Theater, and Snapcase opened for them. And
Yep.
Snapcase played like 15 songs, and Finch only played like 10 because it's all they had.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Snapcase, I don't know if I knew them then, but
Yeah.
they played way too
Way
long.
too long. You're the
Way
fucking
too
opener.
long.
Stop, guys. And it's not that I don't like you. I just everybody paid for Finch tickets. Great pick. Love this record. Want to listen to it again. I can hear that explosion right now. That part where Nate comes in and is fucking she burns and oh man, I can't even do it justice. I'm excited to listen to that later.
Yeah, that's the whole crowd singing at once type chorus. Just
Oh,
amazing. Yeah.
Man, but like most of like that album, I think commercially did pretty well for Drive Through or MC. I think it was Drive Through MCA maybe. But like most of the fans I don't think ever heard the original.
Mm.
Which is weird.
Like I'll have to pull up. Oh shit, I don't have a CD player.
Nah.
I have the CD obviously, and it was early on. It must have had the original because the radio edit was the extended. The irony is it was the extended version.
Yep.
And I remember just thinking like, what did they do? No, man.
They neutered it. Like they made it quiet. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
pull it up on YouTube. I listened to it earlier today. Pull it up on YouTube. Explosion when he
Yeah.
comes in. It's very Chino distorted vocals. It's awesome.
And the whole record's good too. I mean, just hit play on the start.
Fucking sweet, dude. Great pull. I'm stoked to listen to that record later and do the usual me, revisit what I know. But it is 20 years later, so we'll pay it respect. So here's one. This is another house band, not gonna lie. Wrote a bunch down. This was one that came to mind because it was foundational in my kind of music appreciation. Before I really knew who this band was, I remember hearing this record and listening to it through and just being kind of like confused, you know? And I remember thinking like, what? Am I still listening to the same record? There's this weird like interlude part. And it's, I'm not even going to do the clue thing. It's Tool Third Eye, closing record off at Enema. And Bill Hicks comes in there with like the stand-up kind of gag on artists and drugs.
You know,
and I'm like, what?
Real fucking high on drugs.
Real fucking high. We're like, what, in 6th grade, middle school?
96.
I hear this record, and I hear this, somehow got through the record at that age, and I remember hearing this just being confused because it jumps to that Bill Hicks bit and then jumps into this like instrumental fucking weird segue. And then eventually you don't even get to Maynard's singing until I think it comes in at 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Maynard finally comes in, and you're like, all right, so it is a song. So,
Like that happens with Tool all the time, right?
So I had no idea Bill Hicks had any association with Tool. I've never heard this.
Oh yeah, they praise him. Liner notes, I think they thank him,
especially around this time.
Yeah, he was still alive, right?
90s. Yeah, if not, they were definitely into talking about him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, closing track for this record, because it's already a pretty artistic record, and then to close it with this, I think it's proper Tool fashion. I mean, I don't think anyone knew what Tool was, and this is kind of like their prize record at the time. It dropped in 96? Yep. So, you know, when you think about artistic freedom, it seems like with this record they kind of had free reign to do whatever the hell they wanted, because this kind of track is just so out there, let alone splice in a comic bit to kick it off, and then not even have the lyrics jump in until like 2.5 minutes into the track. Phenomenal. And revisiting it today and yesterday, I was like, wow, like what a trip, what a great, you know, unique style, and kind of no one else can do this, so it's very much Tool.
Nobody else can do this.
Yeah.
Like never. Like there's nobody like them, and this is another one of those situations. This Tool record is fucking phenomenal. It's a band that no one really realizes they were then anymore. Like thinking about them today, you've got to be an old head to like know songs like Eulogy and you know, 46 and 2 and Hooker with a Penis and shit like that. Like that record is so fucking awesome, and doesn't get the due in the Tool catalog that it probably should, because Lateralis is so fucking good after it. So
yeah, true.
Which we've done a whole episode on that too. Go check that out. But fucking love Tool, and this is a great closer, and it's fucking out there and wild. And I actually, when was thinking about closers tonight, they came up in my head, but I didn't get back to Enema, and I should have, because this is the one. You're right. Third Eye is the one.
I think they had to have been in full control back then, because like this was, they were on what Volcano?
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that a major, right? Volcano was,
it was
what, 311 or subsidiary of someone.
On that. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, actually, maybe I'm gonna backtrack. Like, there was probably label pressure, but the cards were in their hands, but they weren't. This was like, again, I almost associate Tool with like two eras: pre-Lateralis, post-Lateralis.
Totally.
Because like pre-Lateralis, my head goes back to Ian Robinson seeing them open for, was it Rollins Band?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people think, you know, Tool was just big out of the gate. No, they paid their dues, but I don't know. I've never heard it. So when you said Bill Hicks, I'm like, it seems very different for them, but you got to remember the era too.
Yeah, I mean mid-90s, you're gonna get, and like they've been around a long time, so you forget that they've been around 35 years or you know 33 years, whatever it is, and putting out a couple of EPs and then getting this record as the first real full-length, here is what we are. No one's going to tell us who we are. This is fucking Tool.
Mm-hmm.
Enema's it, right? That's where it all really starts.
Yeah, and also the title track Enema goes into Eons. They could have ended at the end of Enema, but then it goes into Eons, which is kind of like an instrumental weird sound bite into Third Eye, and then it closes. So they actually could have closed like 2 songs beforehand, and they kind of dragged it out, but they were able to use that artistic freedom to do even more in Tool's realm to do something special and just very unique. Listening to it today, I was like, God, it doesn't even seem like it would be something that came out in 96. Sounds like something they would put out now given their stature, because it's so
point.
ballsy, you know?
Yep.
So let me ask you this. Was it like a line item in every Volcano contract that you had to have a song called Eons?
311, yeah. I thought the same thing when you... Yeah, it might have been. All
right, guys, we'll sign you. We'll give you the Bill Hicks quote, but you got to throw Eons in there.
And Message to Harry Manback. That needs to also be in there.
Ooh, that could be not a closing track, but...
We'll do our favorite interludes down the line when we run out of shit to talk about.
One. I like that. There's a lot of mid-90s hip-hop that...
Yeah.
Probably can't be repeated, but
we can pick one and not repeat it. Oh man, yeah, that's a good call, Nate. That song is what, like is that 13 minutes long?
It's long. I'm not sure how long, but it goes on for quite a while. Drags.
Yeah, it's a long one, and I think it's if it's not the longest track on the record, it's damn close. Push It might be the longest track on the record, but this also is up there.
It's up there. It's just it's weird to recollect, like thinking like back then we were just young bucks. We had no idea about music. We were like hearing Michael Jackson and like the Free Willy soundtrack, and then you hear like this Tool record, which is already very dynamic and complicated music. But as like a young kid, like, I mean, you're just so confused. You have no idea what's going on, let alone if you're in tune with music theory.
Mm-hmm.
To quote the president of our fan club, Parker, is it even music?
Yeah. You know what? To quote the real president of our fan club, Chip, yeah, it's music. I fucking love those guys. Yeah. Chip, we know you're still there.
Still here, never left.
All right. Am I up?
You're going to close us out on the closer episode.
Well, shit. I'm going to give you a funky, interesting, awesome song then. I have 2 here. And there's one that I think I could talk about for a little while, but I want to pick one that we all can talk about for a little while. This record came out in 2013. I remember this is like early on in my like digital streaming age, and I was getting ready to travel to a distant country. I think the aforementioned Parker's wedding was in the Dominican Republic. And I woke up early. We were getting ready to get on the plane. I downloaded this record, put it on my phone. I'd already paid for the CD. It was already coming to the house and all that stuff. But I was excited to like listen to it that day because it was a Friday morning going down to, a different country to celebrate some friends. And band that Nate, you and I saw them on the tour for this record in Portland at the State Theater, I think 2 months later, May of 2013-ish. And the Face Melter, he was on the CYY back in the day, was there. He was having a good time. We were out. We went to the State Theater, caught this band just fucking crushing it. We've seen them there a couple times, Stoner Rock to the max. We've talked about them a ton.
Oh, it's Clutch?
It's Clutch. What record am I talking about?
Oh, wow. I was going to say it's fucking, what is it called? Not Blast Iron. What is it called? Earth Rocker. Nice.
The Wolfman kindly requests. It's such a perfect fucking Clutch song. It's so like cool riff, cool bluesy like breakdowns. It just like it fits the end of this Earth Rocker record to a fucking T. And they played it live, I think, that night when we saw them in May of 13. And it's just fucking perfect Clutch. Like, you can't beat it. They put the song out there to play it live and like get people excited and like throw this fucking riff at them. And man, it's so cool. I love Clutch, and this is one of the records that is one of my favorites by them because it hit me at the right time. And this song is fucking badass. The Wolfman kindly requests, which is a perfect Clutch title too, right?
It sounds like a line from The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. The dude abides. The Wolfman kindly requests.
That's a good parallel. Like Clutch, if it was comparison to like movie would definitely fit that bill for sure.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah, they're right up that alley. Absolutely.
Yeah, great record. I think, what was the record before this? Was it Blast Iron? I think it was.
Yeah,
No.
I think you're right. Yep.
No, Blast Iron was
no,
04.
slow.
Robot Hive.
Strange Cousins from the
Strange
West.
Cousins from the West.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, because that was a great record too. But this was like almost like a comeback to true form record. I remember
Absolutely.
when it dropped.
Yep. That show was awesome too, Nate.
That was a fucking sick show. They were in their stride, and kind of like your Atmosphere reference earlier. They're kind of like somewhat relatable, just because they're from Maryland, you know.
Yep.
In the Northeast, at least. So
Indie
yeah,
rock.
man, great. I haven't listened to this record in a
Well,
long
and
time.
they've lived in so many worlds. Like
Yeah.
all your favorite bands, every one of them
Likes Clutch.
have played with them or likes them.
Mm-hmm.
Used
Yeah.
to tour with them, open for them. You know,
I think they're a house band at this point.
Yep, they are a house band. Yeah, it's a feel good band. This band makes me want to drink an IPA every day.
Dude,
Just put them on.
I mean,
let me ask you this: why don't you?
just do it. One. Just one.
It all starts with one.
Nate, when you crack that IPA, just think, I'm gonna listen to some Clutch. I'm gonna fucking do some pod shit. This is my time.
Yeah, this is me. This is my time.
Nate, I'll say this: the Wolfman kindly requests that you drink that IPA.
Perfect.
Yep. If you've never listened to this track, go listen to it. If you've never listened to this record, go listen to it. We fucking love Clutch at this podcast, and I'm excited to crank fucking the Wolfman kindly requests all day, every day.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I know the song. I've listened to this album, but like I don't think a full listen. I've listened to parts of it. So this is what do they say? Well, actually, what does Nate say? Nerd homework?
Nerd homework, front to back Clutch record. And honestly, Twan, it's not that long. 44 minutes. You'll be done in less than an hour.
That's like a dog walk.
Yeah,
No, that's like
exactly.
two
If you're
dog
doing
walks.
it right. No, it's one dog walk if you're doing it right.
Yeah, that's another story.
Well, there's an interesting
Al,
thing
if you're
there.
listening, I'm sorry.
I mean, you said a few times that you didn't know this track, so it just shows that like there's some gold at the end of the record that like maybe gets forgotten, right? And that's why we're highlighting.
Oh, I love it,
closing
Nate.
tracks.
I love your segue to the end.
Closing tracks to get, they might get lost in the shuffle, but you have to revisit. You almost have to like zero in on something like this, closing tracks, because if you're not giving it the proper attention, yeah, you're kind of tired at the end. You're ready to walk out of the theater. Credits are running. You're good. I'm out of here.
Can I bail myself out?
Mm-hmm.
The song before this, "Oh Isabella," is the longest song on the album.
Fair.
So I was probably
You can
all right.
you can hit next.
Yeah, that's true. Use your thumbs.
But yeah, it's a good point, Nate, and you never know what like kind of gold is going to be unearthed in them hills at the end of the record. So get back there, listen to records all the way to the end. You never know. It's going to be fucking awesome. That's why we did this one, and we've been talking about this episode for a year because we did album openers a while back, but album closers is definitely something that they're there for a reason, right?
Absolutely. I'm glad you like. Typically, we start with like kind of our thoughts on album closers, but like we'll close it with that. Yeah, they're there for a reason. There's a lot of these were probably recorded at the end of the recording cycle, so you have the meat of the album, and then you're like, all right, we need to bookend this.
Mm.
I don't know how many that applies of these songs that applies to, but we just got to get these people on the pod and find out.
Yep, we'll ask them all. Don't worry. With that said, we are done. Peace, pod heads.
NPR Nate says mic drop.
Cheers. Cheers, nerds.
Cheers, nerds. Cheers, nerds.
Cheers.
Peace, pod heads.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.